I'm Coach Dave. Welcome back to Coach's Corner.
Come on.
All right, welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner. Excuse me. Been a long day here today. This gentleman was on almost, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I got Jacob Lefty Marrero coming back to Coach's Corner, and we see a different gentleman than we did the last time he was here. Currently 8-0 out of Bridgeport, Connecticut, Bridgeport made. Fighting May 10th, CES card on Foxwoods. Co-main event.
Yep.
Stepping up to an 8-rounder. Welcome back,
Thank
Lefty.
you.
We appreciate you, man. You look great. Look like you've been in the gym, training really hard,
Absolutely.
in good shape. I know it's getting close to fight time. Man, you made some big moves since the last time. We were talking about your comeback fight. You're back. Fought 4 times in the last year. How you feeling, and how's it feel to be back?
Feels good. First of all, I just want to thank you for always allowing me to come up here and broadcasting the fight and all that. I feel good though.
Yeah.
I feel good. You know, I've been training real hard this fight. It's gonna be my first step-up fight, my first 8-rounder. I'm fighting a guy. He fought for the world title before. His name is Wilfredo Flores. He's 11-4.
Fighting another southpaw.
Absolutely, yeah.
How's that? I mean, that's got to be.
It's crazy because, you know, coming up in the amateurs, I didn't fight a lot of southpaws, but a majority of my pro fights, I've been fighting a lot of southpaws lately.
Yeah.
So, you know, we just been working in the gym, you know, we studied him. We watching what he does and all that, and, you know, it's just another day in the office, you know, being there, staying patient, picking our shots, never rushing nothing. And this just training camp, you know, we've been focusing a lot of technical stuff, a lot of conditioning, a lot of different movements this fight for sure, because he's a lefty. And I know it's gonna be fireworks, and, you know, for being my first co-main event, I'm gonna put on a good show for everybody.
8 rounds, big change from, amateur 4 rounds, amateur 3 rounds, going to a pro 4 rounds, 6 rounds. What's your game plan here? I mean, co-main event, you're at home, fighting in front of all. You bring a lot of people. Bridgeport's right behind you all the time when you're fighting, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. How you guys stepping up training now? Is it different for you now? I know Carlos is probably talking to you a little bit more about being patient and taking your time because you got more rounds, but not to give really too much away.
Yeah, so we've been just working on, really just the patience part of it. Since we doing 8 rounds, we never went. We only went the distance one time in my whole pro career. Majority of my fights been knockouts or TKO. So for this being a first step-up fight and a good competitor, we just want to stay patient, pick our shots, and never underestimate nobody. So we just been, trying to just pick our shots wisely this time, keeping our hands up more, moving our head more, and using our IQ more instead of just going in there, looking for the knockout and letting the crowd pump me up and, fighting for the crowd. This time we just gonna, stick to our game plan, and whatever happens, happen. If the knockout comes, but we ready to go 8 rounds.
Yeah, this is pretty much your step-up fight compared to where you were, and, now going to be your 9th pro fight. Competition's getting better as you go up. Your name is out there. People know not only you from the amateurs, but now as a pro, what you're bringing to the table out there. How is that working in your training now as you're becoming a more seasoned pro? And I know you're working, and how do you manage all this dynamic right now?
Well, as of right now, we just been working on a lot of physical aspects of it. As an amateur, we didn't really do a lot of the training that we did now. And it's like you say, since this is our first step-up fight, we don't know what to expect from any opponent, and this opponent being a former title competitor, we just trying to make sure our body and everything is physically capable of taking anything that he brings to the table. Our mind is mentally ready for it. And, we don't want to be surprised of anything. So we've been training all aspects of the training, all aspects of anything that he brings
Getting
to the
ready
table.
for the fight. Yeah. I mean, look, physically, you look in great shape.
Thank you.
What are you doing to balance that right now? You know, you look like you could make weight tomorrow,
Yeah.
just like right off the rip, right? So, how's that for you to maintain right now? What have you been doing differently right now to maintain your conditioning and, you know, keeping the weight and looking ready to fight like that?
So this training camp, we ain't cut no corners this training camp. You know, I try to stay as disciplined as possible this camp, you know, because I want to perform the best I could possibly perform. We've been prioritizing my sleep. I've been trying to get better sleep. You know, I've been trying to drink my water every day, trying to eat my the right foods at the right time, doing the right training, you know, explosiveness, you know. Um we just trying to really live like a boxer and train like a boxer all the way around this training camp. And everything been working good this camp. You know, I've been feeling physically strong, mentally strong, and honestly, out of all my pro fights, I feel like this was the best training camp I ever had so far, and I'm definitely seeing the difference. And I'm ready to show Fox was the world what this training camp has done for me, and I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna like what they're gonna see May 10th.
Yeah, I mean, look, your learning curve now has been you're coming into your ninth pro fight. You know, your comeback was to get your feet wet, and you've had great success with it. How? Let's come back to you stepping back in the ring for the first time after a while, and how was that? And then, did you expect to be sitting where you are right now after that comeback, after that first fight? Did you envision seeing, all right, I'm going to be 8-0, fighting a former contender, and you know this is a really good breakout fight for you and your career. You know,
Yeah,
it makes sense because you have a good opponent with a good record. You have a good record. You know, you get to show your skills right now.
yeah,
But let's flip back to that. Did you, you know, is your 360 is there?
yeah.
Did you envision it?
I envisioned it. I always try to like kept the vision in mind, but it was a lot of trials and tribulations
Yeah.
getting here. You know, coming out, you know, being away from the sport for a long time due to some, you know, some
Right.
things in my life. It was a lot of trials and tribulations. You know, coach was always in my ears talking about, you know, it's gonna take time to get back to where you was. You know, I can't let outside distractions get into the way of my career again. So it took a long time to, you know, be in the right mental space, you know, to get to where I'm
Yeah.
at now, emotionally, physically, and
So
mentally.
you were away from the sport for a little while, right? And when you came back, yeah, I mean, you made a big splash in your first fight back. Was it hard for you to stay motivated after that? I mean, you know, to keep positive, to say, hey, you know, I'm not the same fighter I was a couple of years ago. And, you know, was that pressure on, were you putting that pressure on yourself to say, hey, I want to perform better, I need to perform better? How did you deal with that as you know, from when you came back into the sport and now where you are today?
Absolutely. The pressure, I put a lot of pressure on myself, you know. For me personally, I always demand greatness, you know. I always demand the best of me at all times, you know, no matter who the opponent is, no matter who's standing in front of me, I always expect to dominate. And it took me a long time to like really realize that, you know, not everything's gonna happen the way you want it sometimes, and sometimes you just gotta learn to accept what's in front of you and learn from it and move forward and try to adapt to your situations and your surroundings. And I just want to thank my team and everybody that's just been with me, you know, supporting me, coming in my corner, helping me try and be the best person I could possibly be, you know. And
You
just
know, just to interrupt you here real quick, it takes a village when it comes to fighters. You know, like people don't realize, you know, whether it's pros or amateurs, and you guys have a great team. Carlos is you know, just runs a great program, known him for a long time. You know, Ortiz Boxing is, you know, but it takes a village to support a fighter. It's just not the coach, it's everybody behind him. And I think that motivates the fighter. But, you know, as fighters and as coaches, we go through ups and downs and trials and tribulations of our life. And I think that's the fighter life. I don't think any fighter has an easy way from the time they turn as an amateur to a pro. I think they all have their ups and downs and staying motivated. But, you know, you've kind of moved through it. And What do you think has really been your motivation to move through it?
Truthfully, I'll really just say like my family and friends and everybody that supports me and look up to me, because just in my city alone, like sometimes when I be running around the city, I be having people stop me. I have come people coming out their cars like, yo man, you motivate me. I have random people texting me sometimes saying you motivate me, you motivate my son. And I just know what I do now is bigger than what I do. Like if I
Right.
was to stop doing what I do now, I would not only do a disjustice to myself, but I would do a disjustice to everybody that believe in me. And I just don't want to be that person to be, 10, 15 years from now and just be like, I could have did this, I could have did that, you know. So I just try to keep that in my head that I'm not just doing it for me. I'm just doing it for everybody in the next generation that's gonna come up. If I could put myself on a platform, to show somebody that's the better way, or just bring somebody up with me and just do better than me. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is bringing, uplifting each other up, and try to be the best person that you could possibly be at the end of the day.
Yeah, and look, everybody knows Bridgeport's a little rough area, tough. You know, I'll use the saying, Bridgeport made you.
Yeah,
Okay, you are what you are because where you grew, and that's in your DNA, and that's what you take into the fight and how you train. Do you see yourself as a role model for the
absolutely.
people and for the city of Bridgeport and the kids?
Absolutely, absolutely. Just like you said, my area in Bridgeport, is a rough area, and there's not a lot of people that come out of the city, due to the environment, all the distractions in it, and just for me being in that environment growing up, and a lot of people that grew up with seeing me, you know, going through what I've gone through, and I still kept it pushing. I kept grinding,
Right.
and
Never quit.
I
Never
never
gave
quit.
up.
And now that I'm here at this platform fighting at Foxwoods Casino co-main event, my ninth pro fight, you know, it's giving people motivation and inspiration, and it gives me a great feeling that at least I'm doing something positive. It just keeps me on track. Like no matter if my life is not where I want it to be, I know I'm doing something right. I'm giving somebody hope, and I'm giving somebody an inspiration to be better, to do better, and be great, and never give up on their dreams, no matter the circumstances or the situation that they got going in life.
Yeah. I mean, you have great support not only with your team at the gym and your coaches and your fellow fighters, but I was at the press conference with you when you guys did it in Bridgeport, and sat there and watched how people came out, city council people, you had Mayor Ganem, politicians, local business people, and how they spoke about you. How does that motivate you, knowing that you have a whole city behind you when you go to fight? You're not just fighting for Lefty Marrero, you're fighting for the city of Bridgeport also.
Yeah, it just, I feel like it just puts like a chip on my shoulders. Like I have to do good. I have to be great. Like I have to win this fight. I can't let nobody stop what's supposed to happen for me. You get what I'm saying? Like I feel like, just having the mayor and the city councilwoman coming out, every time I have a press conference or every time I have a fight coming up, they buy tickets. They always reach out to me. They always try to support me the best way I could. And who would have ever thought, a person like me coming up the way I came up would have such a councilwoman or mayor backing me up. I take that as a privilege, and I don't want it to go to waste or take it for granted. I just want to keep going, and however far I could take it, I would like to, like I said, bring somebody else with me, the next generation up, open the doors for the next generation, the young kids.
Yeah. Now, you train at home, train out of Ortiz Boxing, you don't go anywhere else. Other if you're sparring, I understand all of that. What's it like? Because I know there's a lot of young kids in that gym that are looking up to you and everything else. What is their reaction with you? They're training in the gym, they see you. What is it? What advice are you giving them as young fighters and young men and women growing up? Because look, we all have our ups and downs. You've had your ups and downs in life like anybody else, and you can walk the walk and talk the talk. So you're just not somebody over there that said, okay, you know what, I'm this, that, and the other thing. No, you're the real thing. So you can relate to a kid or maybe a young fighter and say, hey, this is what I went through.
Yeah.
How does that Do you get a lot of kids coming up to you, come saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
Lefty, you know what, you know?"
Especially the kids from the gym. I always try to drill in their head, like, if this is something that you want to do, put the time into it now. Like, take the amateur career serious. Put all your efforts in the amateur. Set yourself up before you hit the pros. Cause my mistake was, I didn't take my amateur boxing as serious as I was supposed to. I didn't set myself up, and I knew if I would have took it as serious and been as dedicated as I am now, I'd have been way farther in my pro career, and I wouldn't have to,
Okay,
work so hard.
let me be devil's advocate here, okay? Do you think you didn't take your amateur career seriously because you were talented enough to get by with talent? First
Absolutely.
question, right? Second question is, do you think you would have been further along in your pro career, or this is the path that you needed to take where you are today?
So I feel like everything happens for a reason, but I do believe that, I didn't take my amateur boxing serious because my talent alone. I just felt like, if I just did a little bit, that I
It
could
was
just,
enough.
it was enough. But me having the mindset that I have now, there's always somebody ready to take your spot. There's always
Yeah.
somebody ready to come in and want it as much as you want or even more. So if you in a position to be great at your sport and you got the talent, don't let nobody take your shine. Don't let nobody take your spot. Set yourself up, like, because boxing is a short career. Boxing is in general a young man's sport, and you want to live it up, win all these tournaments, and get the most exposure as you can. So by the time you hit pros or where I'm at now, you'll be way further along. And I really truly believe that, I got a great talent, and if I would have took it seriously and I would have put my all into it as I'm doing it now, I would have been further along. I could have been where all these top guys is at. Cause I seen a lot of dudes that I beat in the amateurs or I done spar with, they signed with Top Rank, they signed with Matchroom, they're world champions now. And I know I'm at that level. I know that, anybody that come in the ring with me, that it's not an easy fight with me. Nobody that ever fought with me could say that it was an easy fight with me. And as an amateur, I never gave it 100%. So I know if I would have took it seriously as an amateur, I knew I could have been further along.
Fair enough. But you are where you are now,
Yeah.
okay? Your talent is still your talent. That talent didn't go away. You're just a little hungrier right now to prove everybody that, I'm on the rise. I'm here. I'm going to make some noise. Who do you see yourself, as a pro, not trying to get down the road? Who do you see yourself that would be a target for you that you would like to fight or, match against in your weight class right now?
Truthfully, we just taking it one step at a time, one fight at a time. Any opponent that they throw at us,
Yeah.
we're willing to take. Any other top tens, top fives. When we get the exposure, we get the time and the experience in. When that time comes and I got my rounds in, I got my experience in, I wouldn't mind fighting whoever. Truthfully, I feel like I could go toe to toe with anybody in my weight class.
The guys you've been working with, that's the testing ground sometimes as we get ready to fight. Has there been anybody out there really, challenging you and pushing you to really bring it up another level other than the coaches?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been, I spar with a lot of the local talent around. I done spar, with Tremaine Williams. It's always a good matchup with Tremaine Williams. I've been sparring Carlos Perez, real tough. From Meriden, throws a lot of punches. I've been sparring with Anthony Nieves from my gym. He's one to know now as a pro. He always pushes me to be great, because we know each other's style so much. He causes me to think different.
So let's talk about Anthony because, Anthony's another story that comes out of your gym. Look, we had him on just before his pro debut. How is that dynamic now, both of you guys growing up together, being in the same gym?
Yeah.
But now, okay, you're stable mates, but, you're challenging each other. How does that
Yo, there's not enough words I could say about Anthony Neves. Like, I was in the gym before Anthony. He came to the gym when he was a little younger than me, and I just watched the transformation like with my own eyes, how hard Anthony trains. Anthony, puts everything into the sport, and he look up to me and I look up to him in ways,
Yeah.
and then we always bounce ideas off to each other when we just me and him alone. Like he expressed to me that I look up to you, bro, man. Like I want to do this because you motivate me, and he don't even know when I be telling him like, bro, you motivate me. Like you doing this, just seeing him transform, lose all that weight, and he won his first fight. It reminded me how I felt when I won my first pro fight, like that fire, that drive, that excitement, and I always tell him like, yo, bro, like I'm proud of you, like you doing it, like, and just for us training, feeding each other energy off in the gym, man, it's like a great time. We always pushing each other,
Yeah.
like we be in the gym, he'll hit the bag, he'll throw like 6-7 punches, and I'll throw like 6-7-8 punches, and he'll be like, "Yeah, you trying to outshine me?" He be like, "Nah, you trying to outshine me?" And it's a friendly competition. But man, I got nothing but love for Anthony
Yeah.
Nails.
That kind of goes to, let's talk about this, because I know he's a humble guy and he don't talk about himself too much, and he's not about, it's him. Let's talk about Coach Carlos in the gym and his dynamic, because you guys, and there's a lot of other people in that gym, and I don't want anybody to be missed or looked over, but because I know you and Anthony a little better than everybody else over there, we're going to use you two guys. You two guys are a product of that gym. Different challenges in your life. You had a different challenge. Anthony had a different challenge in his life. Very easy for young men today to walk away when things aren't going right in their life and say, fuck it, I don't need to do this. I don't want to fight no more. I don't need to push myself. I don't need to challenge myself. But that not only comes from, I think, you guys, but it comes from the environment and the gym that you're in. So, I know Carlos from the shows, coaching, and everything else. Tell us a little bit about his style of coaching, and you know what? Let's let him have a shine for a minute, because you know what? I know he doesn't ask for a lot of notice from anybody. He's a very humble man.
Yeah.
But, with you, with Anthony, and all the other young fighters that he works with over there, the product is always a good product that comes out of there. Whether it's a professional fighter like you two guys or amateur fighters, you guys carry yourself in a different way. So how is he in the gym, and what does he demand out of you guys?
So what I like about Coach from the moment I met him was his mannerism and his morals and principles. Like coming to our gym, like the first thing you do when you come into our gym, everybody must shake everybody's hands. You gotta say what's up to everybody, And when you leave, you gotta say bye to everybody, It's just it's not just the boxing that he teaches. He teaches the principles. Like when you come to the gym, you gotta say what's up. You gotta say peace out. You gotta do this. Like don't ask questions. Like he a type of guy, like he'll give you his all, but he don't want you to like to be in the gym and just take his time for granted, because Coach also works a daytime job, and he don't get paid for coming to the gym and taking time away from his personal life to be at the gym and training a whole bunch of kids, just like everybody else in the gym, Ricky Nieves and everybody else that's a part of the gym, and he invests all his time, and he never want anything in return, and that's what I like about him. Like he do everything real genuine. Like when a person doing something out of love, when you could actually feel it, and everything that Coach does and everything that he speak on, you could feel, and no matter if you want to be a boxer or you want to be anything, like he's always going to be in your corner, like no matter what. Once you're a part of the gym, it's like you got a father in the gym. No matter the race, no matter the color, no matter what background you come from, he just give you that guidance. He give you that comfort, like, that he got you. Like you always got somebody riding behind you. And I feel like in this sport, you need somebody like that, just in case, the boxing don't turn out or something. You wake up one morning and you want to do something different, he'll still give you 110% no matter what, and he's the type of guy, he's straightforward. If you do something messed up, he gonna tell you.
Yeah, he's going to put you out on it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Look, boxing is more than, look, to become a professional, high-level amateur, that's great. But, you guys are in the gym. Not everybody's going to be a pro. Not everybody's going to be a good amateur. Not everybody's going to fight a fight. They might just be there training, whatever the case. And you know what? As coaches, look, if we can build young men and make them productive, whether they're going to be fighters or they're going to be productive in the world out there somehow, that's an testament to what we do. Because, yeah, he works for full-time. We all work a full-time job. We're not doing this. I don't do this to make my living. I do it the same way as Coach Carlos because I love it. But you guys, he has some more challenges, and to see people evolve, not only as fighters, but as young men, is a testament to the gym and the people, not only him, but everybody else that works in that gym. I want to give shout outs to them too. I don't want to overlook anybody there because I know there's a lot of people that have a hand in that what's going on over there. But, he's been with you since the rip. Let's talk about him coaching now. Not only what he does, but, I want to talk about you're preparing for a fight.
Yeah.
You guys go back and forth? Or is it his way or the highway? Or, you know what? You're maturing as a young fighter now.
Yeah.
So, your ring IQ is growing. You're not that young kid at 8 years old, 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yes, coach. Yes, coach. Yeah, I got an idea now. You know what I'm saying? Tell me a little bit about that dynamic between you and coach.
Well, me and coach, just like say like we get a fight, coach is one of them old school coaches. Like he'll sit there and he'll study the opponent. He'll study, and then he knows my fighting style. So he'll come up with a game plan and he'll talk to me first. Before anything, he'll always come talk to me first, see if I'm comfortable with the fight, comfortable with the training, comfortable with the sparring. And we'll bounce ideas off to each other, but I try to stay a student of the game. I never try to, move around like I know more or never get too cocky. Whatever coach say, if coach be like another round, I'll do it. No questions asked. If he be like run an extra mile or, we got to go over here or we got to do this. I always try to stay a student in the game, stay humble and just remember where I come from and what he do for me, truthfully is whatever he say, I'll do.
Yeah, you don't got to say that because he's listening. But, do you feel right now you're going to have your 9th fight? Yeah, big amateur background, pros are different than amateurs, right? How do you feel you're evolving as a fighter mentally?
I'm feeling like mentally, I'm definitely feeling like, more mature, feeling more confident in myself. And I'm feeling like, like I'm really meant to be here now. Like I'm really meant to do this. Like I'm really starting to come into them shoes and really starting to believe that, this is what I was born for. This is what I was meant to do. Like everything that happened in my life led me to this moment, and I'm really starting to really walk like that, really talk like that, and try to
I
move
noticed, what, since you were here the last time, your confidence level, your swagger is definitely more than it was the last time. And in a good way, right? Like in a good way. You're getting close to fight, so I know it's getting to the time that, okay, I'm ready. We've had a long camp. Let's go. Let's get this thing on. Let's get it going. I'm ready. I've put all the hard work in. I want to show off on May 10th. Training at home, is it a distraction sometimes? Being home and, look, because, the city is supporting you, your gym is supporting you, is it a distraction sometimes with you to be, training at home? Whereas maybe if you were away a little bit, would it be easier? Would it be, less stressful on you as a fighter?
Maybe. I mean, I never really trained nowhere else, so I don't really know how it would feel if I had a training camp somewhere else.
Yeah.
But just speaking on just training in Bridgeport, I just try to stay away from places and people that will distract me and bring me down. I try to seclude myself and lock in the fight and surround myself with people that believes in my vision and believe in my goals and try to uplift me at all times. I always try to be around positive people during fight time and fight camp.
So you're working now. How are you balancing the work and the training aspect? Like you're really close to fighting now. I mean, it's a tough dynamic when fighters are working and training, especially now, the fights are getting tougher. The
It's
rounds are going up.
yeah.
How are you balancing that out with your life?
It's a little difficult to right now. I work a full-time job.
Yeah.
I actually have two jobs. I work a full-time job, Monday through Friday, and I have a weekend job, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. And I get out of work around like 3:30, and I walk straight to the gym. I get my training in 2-3 hours, and after that, I try to go home, take a shower, try to eat the right foods, and go straight to sleep basically. And I'm just trying to just do the best that I can, with the situation I'm in right now. I don't let nothing try to
Yeah.
distract me from boxing. And anything that interferes with the boxing, I let it go. And if my job was to be like, you gotta leave at this time or leave at this time, I wouldn't work, because at the end of the day, boxing is my bread and butter.
Yeah, well, now it's getting more challenging as you fight.
Absolutely.
As the rounds go up and the competition goes up, your training has to become more. So physically, you're working, you're training. It's got to put a toll on you at times.
Absolutely. Like sometimes I go home and sometimes I go home, I don't want to eat, or sometimes I don't want to do nothing. I just want to lay in my bed, I don't want to talk to nobody or nothing. But it's all part of it. It's all a part of the
And
journey.
it's the evolution of
Yeah.
a fighter. And, I talk about this with a lot of guys, right? And a lot of fighters and a lot of people involved in the sport. People don't realize, whether you fight in a 4-round fight, a 6-round, 8, 10, 12, whatever it is you're fighting, don't realize what it is that it takes to get ready for that fight. And they don't realize some of these fighters like yourself, they're working jobs as they get ready to fight. Don't realize that, you just don't go to the gym magically for 1 hour, do your work, and go home, and it's a good day, and you're prepared for the fight. Well, you
Yeah.
might get away with that a little while here and there, depending on who you fight. But now you're getting challenged. Your career is moving in a direction where you want it to move, and the challenges are going to be more and more and more. How do you think you're going to deal with those challenges in the future? Tough question.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to stay focused and just, put what's important first. Like, put my
Yeah.
boxing first, and continue just being around the people that want to see me be great, And if sacrifices need to be made, they will be made for the betterment of my career. I don't mind, if my job don't align with the gym, if my job don't align with the fight, I'm willing to, risk it all just to have a shot at greatness. You only get one time
Yeah.
to be great in this sport. And if I have an opportunity to be great, I'll leave my job just to be great.
I kind of go back to what you say is, what my thing is you made a good statement earlier. And I kind of tell this to fighters too, because every fighter at some point in his career, I mean, they're going to question, am I doing this? Is it worth it? Is this fight worth the stretch? I don't know, blah, 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 right? But my thing is just what you said. You can't look back and say, I should have, would have, could have, or what if, and I think for a young fighter like yourself in your position, you're knocking on the door. You're right there. I mean, a couple of fights go the right way down the road here, one fight at a time, and, you're knocking on the door for, a good fight, a promotional contract, whatever it is that's gonna happen for you. And you got to kind of make that decision if that's the path you want to go. And if that's the path you want to go, you're going to sacrifice. Unfortunately, you're going to sacrifice. And if you're willing to sacrifice now, like you said, the outcome could become great.
Yeah.
And honestly, to hear you talk now with this confidence and to see you, it's exciting to kind of fast forward this to see what you're going to do, to watch you fight and see how you're going to perform and see how you move your career from here is because, we talk about this also. Connecticut gets overlooked with fighters. I don't know if I talked about this with you last time, but I've talked about it with a lot of other guys out of Connecticut. And, originally I'm from New York. I live in Connecticut now. There's a lot of good fighters coming out of the state of Connecticut.
Absolutely.
And I think, a lot of fighters get overlooked over here, but, right now there's a good young crop of fighters coming out of Connecticut, out of the Bridgeport, New Haven, West Haven area. There's a lot of talent, a lot of talented gyms. You got your gym, you got Ortiz, you got Louis Rosa's gym. We can go on and on and on, with different gyms. I don't want to miss anybody, but, what's your thought about that? Like when, you go to different places, you spar with different people. Oh, you're from Connecticut.
Yeah.
What is that?
It,
Do you get that? Oh, Connecticut, where's, they look at you like, man, you guys really can't fight.
yeah, it just be mind blowing. It be mind blowing sometimes, because like you said, there's so many great fighters in Connecticut. Like you said, we could name a whole list of gyms, a whole list of fighters of
Yeah.
Connecticut right now, and it just be mind blowing that we don't get the same opportunity or same recognition that some of these other places get. But I feel like that makes us who we is now. It makes us grind harder. It makes us fight the way we fight because we got something to prove to a lot of people. And like you said, we got a good group of Connecticut fighters, doing their thing right now. A lot of Connecticut fighters, we all fought against each other.
Yeah,
we
you guys all
sparred
came
against-
up as young fighters.
So it's actually dope to see, everybody progressing with their career, actually doing good with their career that we all know that we could have done, and just putting the grind in and just supporting each other at the same time,
Yeah.
because we all. Well, me personally, I don't hate on nobody from Connecticut. I want to see everybody from Connecticut, and especially in my area, do great, And if I could be a person that help you in sparring or help you with some advice or anything, I'm willing to do all that because I just want to see everybody do good around me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Look, that's the one thing that makes boxing such a great sport. We all, most people in this sport, gyms and fighters, are going to help each other. Going to pick each other up and whether it's sparring, advice, training, whatever it is. That's the great thing about this sport. You make a call to somebody and say, "Hey, I need help with this fighter. I need work." Okay, I got you. This, that. Let's flip for a second. You came back. You fighting, right? You fighting on some of the biggest venues now. You fighting in Foxwoods. You fighting in Mohegan Sun.
Yeah.
How is that? You going from fighting as an amateur in small places, and now all of a sudden, was it a little nerve-wracking at first for you to fight on such a big venue, or
Absolutely.
was it just like, I got there and I'm good, but
Nah, absolutely, cause that's like especially when I'm my first pro debut, like there's a whole story that I tell about it, just leading up to that moment, I remember just the night of my pro debut fighting at Foxwoods Casinos. I'm looking in the mirror the night before and I couldn't believe that I was there. Like I knew that, one day boxing could probably take me somewhere, but I never knew that it could have led me to where I'm at now. Like sometimes when I was younger, I didn't accept the moment. Like what I used to always question myself, like why it gotta be me? Like can it be me? Can I do it? And just being at Foxwoods and fighting at these big arenas now, it's just mind blowing to me. So even now, like even when I fight, it's my 9th pro fight. It's still shocking to me. Like wow, like I'm still doing it. I'm fighting at Foxwoods. I'm be the co-main event, first 8-rounder. Like it's just. It just gives me a feeling every time that I'm doing something great. Like I'm doing something that I always knew that I could have done, But like you said, it takes a village, and I just gotta shout out to everybody that played a major part in doing this. My team, my family, and just all the coaches, all the fighters from Connecticut. Everybody played a part in my success.
Yeah. Tough question here. If you weren't fighting, what do you think you'd be doing?
Truthfully, I don't know what I'll be doing. I honestly don't know what I'll be doing. A lot of people be like, "Oh, like you supposed to know," but I honestly don't know what I'll be doing because, I really feel like my head wasn't in the right place, and I wasn't motivated to do a lot of things, especially with school.
Right.
Reading books or none of that. I was always into like fighting and trying to do everything.
Well,
the fast way.
some people have their calling, Lefty. You know what I mean? And it's okay if you don't know what you're doing, but I'm gonna throw another tough. Did boxing save you?
Absolutely. I feel like if I was to never be boxing, it'd probably be typical to say, but I really feel like I would be dead or in jail if I wasn't boxing. I was doing a lot of.
Is that something, without getting into it, and what I mean, did boxing save you? Okay, being that you don't know what you really wanted to do, and look, everybody having their ups and downs in life, right? You found your up with boxing, right? So we're coming from where you're coming from. Are you a story to inspire others?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said before, like nobody really has, you know. I'm not gonna say nobody done it, what I'm doing, because there's a lot of
Yeah,
Bridgeport fighters that done it before, but I feel like just me doing it now and me doing it how I've been doing it is just an inspiration to a lot of people, especially people that know me and know my story and know everything that I gone through just at least came up to this moment. It's just truly a blessing, and I'm just I'm really supportive, and I'm really thankful for everybody that when things got bad for me, they stood in my corner, and when things got good for me and they still in my corner, no matter what turns or anything that happened in my life, everybody just, still believe in me and still, want to see me just do good. So I'm truly blessed,
yeah.
and I'm truly, thankful for everybody.
I mean, your confidence level right now as a fighter's got to be pretty high. I mean, when you step into the ring now, do you feel like you were when you were on the verge of breaking out as an amateur, or do you feel that you're a different version?
I'm definitely a different version. I'm more confident, you know, I feel like I said, like I'm really walking into that shoes, and I'm really fulfilling that purpose and that question in my head, like, do I deserve it? Am I supposed to be here? Like I always question myself, like, why it gotta be me? And now as I go into the ring, it's like, why not me? Like I put in the work just like everybody else. Like why everybody else gotta do it and I can't do it, And I have the right people around me. I have the talent. I put in the work. So by the
You
time I get
have
into the
you
ring,
yeah.
I'd be like, nobody's gonna take it from me because I know I deserve to be here.
It's got to be a tough balance because you definitely have talent, right? And listening to you questioning yourself sometimes from where I watch and I watch you as a fighter, man, I think you could bang with pretty much anybody in your division and guys above you, you know. Is that something that you got to keep reminding yourself each day that you keep, training, getting ready for fights?
Yeah, absolutely. Cause like I said, I never underestimate none of my opponents, cause you never know what somebody could bring to the table.
Right.
I always just try to stay hungry. I always try to put in the miles, the extra work, I always try to stay ahead of the game. I don't want to let nobody take my spot. And if a guy beats me, I want them to beat me at my best, for I don't have to go home that night and have an
Second guess.
excuse and be
Yeah.
like, dang, I could have did this better. I should have ran the extra mile. So I try to give it 110%, and you know, lately and all my fights been going good, and I just want to know that when I get in, I leave it all in the ring, and then if a guy beats me, I'm okay with that if I gave it 100%
Yeah,
and
if he beats the
10%.
best version.
Yeah.
How would you describe your style? And is there somebody that you took and said, yeah, that's the kind of style I want to fight? I want to have a little bit of that and a little,
Yeah.
because I know fighters, look, you all have your own style.
Yeah.
But we look at, and even coaches, we look at styles and say, yeah, that style kind of fits him. We could add a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Is there somebody that inspired you with their style? And how would you describe to people your style of fighting?
Well, I really looked up to Hector Camacho and Sugar Ray Leonard, and I say that because boxing is not only a sport but it's entertainment, and I feel like those two guys was technical. They had the skills, but they brought entertainment to the sport. Like when you watch they fights, you was gonna expect a good fight. And I always drilled in my head, like, I don't want to be one of them boxers, just looking pretty, not getting hit. And it's cool not to get hit. That's a part of the game. But when I get into a fight, I want people to know, like, yo, Lefty's fighting. It's gonna be a great fight.
Yeah.
He's gonna make us want to buy another ticket.
Yeah.
And I always try to drill in my head, like, when I come to fight, I want people to know that I'm coming to fight. Like, it's gonna be a fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a war.
Yeah.
So you took off a style of, a little bit of Leonard and
yeah, like
Camacho,
boxer puncher.
boxer
Make sure
puncher.
that I could box when I need to, and I
Yeah.
could bring the fight if I have to. I could adapt to any style.
What are you working on now, do you think, is a spot that you really need to work on as a fighter? As the levels are coming up. I mean, you have your strong points. What do you think right now that you're working on that you need to be better with?
Just being patient, picking my shots more. Not being greedy in the pocket. It's like you said, it's not the amateurs no more. I don't have to sit there and throw 7, 8 punches in the pocket if I don't need to. If I could hit you with 2, 3 good shots and get out the way and do the same effect that I could with 7, 8 punches
Yeah.
and save as much energy as I could, then that's what I've been doing. Just staying more patient, picking my shots, and not letting the crowd
Amp you up.
amp me up to go get the knockout and fight for the crowd. I'm trying to fight for myself and just be the best fighter I could possibly be.
We talked about you made a statement about being a showman. Boxing is a sport of now moving into your generation, younger generation of fighters coming up. Showmanship is important in the sport. What do you think on social media and its effect for you guys as a fighter? How do you manage that? Because do you feel it's important for you? Now you're gaining, your name, your brand, you're the business. Lefty Marrero is the business. He's the fighter. How do you feel about that with boxing right now?
I think that plays a major role into it, especially social media. Like back in the day, they didn't have none of that, A lot of their exposure was through TV, newspapers, and all that. But I feel like us coming up now and how big social media it is, I feel like it's a great opportunity to progress yourself and put yourself on a platform for everybody to see you. So I feel like putting videos out there, making little skits, showing your fight style, not your fight style, like clips of your fight,
Your
clips of your training.
personality.
Yeah. I feel like that plays a major role into it because it shows that you're humble. The way you do it shows that you're humble, you got character, you could sell tickets, if you got the look, like that all plays a part into the sport that we in now.
Yeah. No, I think, I was talking to a couple of fighters last week about that. Does it affect your training? Because now I know at Ortiz you guys are not all over the social media as some gyms are out there. It's just nonstop.
Yeah.
How do you're getting ready for a fight, and important that you do promote yourself. You want people to come see you. If you're fighting on TV at the casino, you want them to know. Do you feel it affects your training? Does it get in the way of your training?
We try not to let it get in the way of training, but we know, especially coming fight time, like that's something we have to do to promote the
Right.
fight, because a lot of us boxers make money off ticket sales. So as much tickets that we sell, it's better for us. So we just try to do it at the right time, not give too much, but not give too little also. We always try to, at the right time, not give too much to social media because you don't want people to be like, yo, he always posting about the same thing.
Yeah, I get that. And the other thing is too, look, you guys are early in your career. So you know what? Whether it's ticket sales or sponsors, you guys need funding, especially when you're in camp and you're getting ready to fight, equipment, recovery, whatever it is, doctors, food, you can name it. That all costs money.
Yeah.
So if people could support along the board there, it's definitely helpful. How do you see yourself, you're in the gym, you're working with, on yourself, you're coaching. Do you see yourself coaching one day?
Absolutely. I still be in the gym after my workouts or something. I always try to help coach, especially with the younger kids and all that, especially for the up and coming generation. A lot of them would love to train with me. So a lot of them just want to hit the bag with me or be near me, jump
Right.
rope near me. So
It's got to be exciting to work next to you,
Yeah, so
a pro fighter in the gym.
yeah, so I just try to remember that feeling when I was younger and I used to see the Tremaine Williams or,
Yeah.
all the upcoming fighters. I used to be like, damn, man, I want to be in the ring with him or I want to hit the bag with him, and I always try to remember that feeling. I never try to, get high in the high moments, and just remain humble, and just try to be there for the kids and all that, and showed them that, like, hey, even though I'm doing this, like I'm the same person. I'm like, I'm still here. I'm in this. I could relate to you, and if I could do anything to help you, I'm gonna do it. You know, I always try to stay humble at the end of the day. You know, I feel like
Yeah.
kindness goes a long way.
Well, you're always at the amateur level, even the pro level. You're always there. You're supporting your team and the other fighters and everything else. So let's talk about May 10th for a second here, as we kind of get down and wind it down here. So once again, you're fighting for CS's card, Jimmy Birchfield,
Yeah.
Foxwoods Casino co-main event. You get tickets, at Jacob Lefty Marrero on Instagram, or Carlos from Ortiz Boxing. Hit them up for tickets. But, CES promotion also, without giving the whole plan here, without telling everybody, what is it? What are we looking at for May 10th?
May 10th, expect pure domination. Pure domination. Expect bunches of punches. Expect sweat going everywhere. Mouthpieces flying out people's mouths. Crowd going crazy, and you're gonna just see a more determined Lefty. I feel like every fight is a new opportunity to show a better version of yourself, and I'm gonna look 10 times better than my last fight. And then after this fight, my 10th pro fight, I'm gonna look 10 times better than this fight.
So let's talk about that for a minute. What's the outfit look like for this fight?
It's gonna be a green outfit, try to switch it up, it's gonna be like almost like a gladiator type of outfit. And
nice.
Try to do something different. I never had a gladiator fight trunks out my whole amateur career, my pro career. So I'm trying to just switch up the swag, switch up the music, and come with a different type of energy that nobody's seen me before.
Yeah, it's all part of the game, right?
Yeah.
That's part of the thought process here. That you get to dress up and go to the dance a little bit. So tell us, tell everybody where we can find you. Tell them they're looking for tickets, how they can get tickets. Is this fight going to be streamed, or is it strictly get your ticket, make sure you don't miss it? Big step-up fight, 8-round fight.
Yeah.
Shoot it off.
Well, you can contact me at Facebook, Jacob Lefty Marrero, same as the Instagram, Jacob Lefty Marrero. We will contact my coach, Carlos Nieves, Ortiz Boxing Gym. You can definitely, I got shirts, if anybody want to support.
So we need some people. Show that shirt off so some people can support the cause, all right?
Lefty.
So, hit my man up here. Show him a little love. Rep the shirt. So we going to see green like that or green?
Yeah, just exact color I'm wearing.
Like that.
Yeah, because, I want everybody to share that moment with me,
Is Carlos wearing green, or is he going to wear his black hat and his black shirt? Tell me here.
Nah, he's going to wear green.
He's going to wear green.
We all wearing green. We all wearing green that day. Everybody switching it up.
All right. So listen, as always, we love having you here. Great story, man. I'm really happy for your success, and I'm really excited to see you as your career progresses, man. You're definitely an inspiration to a lot of young fighters out there coming up, a role model in the city of Bridgeport. Bridgeport made, can't say a lot more about you, man. It's just, a great story to see you, and it's going to be exciting to watch you May 10th get your 9th win. We appreciate you, and, follow him. Young prospect, Jacob Lefty Marrero, out of Ortiz Boxing in Bridgeport, Connecticut. He is fighting May 10th, CES Promotions at Foxwoods Casino, co-main event. Remember when he was here, okay, because he's going to be back when he's fighting again, and then when he becomes a champion. So remember the name, all right, Jacob Lefty Marrero. And, once again, we appreciate everybody for their support of Coach's Corner. Subscribe, likes, everything else, all the guests that come on here. And this is Coach Dave. Train hard, train smart. We'll see you in the next round.